Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll discuss, can I get a job in the Philippines as a foreigner? I'll share my experiences, my thoughts, as well as some other foreigners who have been through the same thing or have thoughts on this topic. Today's question is, can I get a job in the Philippines? And if so, what jobs do you recommend? Okay, before we read the answers and share my personal experience and thoughts on this topic, take a quick second, hit that subscribe button. We're down to the home stretch, over 93% of the way there. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Here's the first response. It is illegal for foreigners to work in the Philippines. Correction. It is not illegal for foreigners to work in the Philippines. You just need the proper documentation, the proper visa, and the proper work permit. Now, whether can you or should you work in the Philippines is two complete different questions. Yes, foreigners can work in the Philippines, but do you want to work in the Philippines? Very different things. If you have the proper work permit and you have the proper visas, you are able to work in the Philippines, but there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. There's a lot of things, a lot of preparation, a lot of legal stuff that you really have to watch out for. YouTube is not a place you want to get the answer for what type of visas and all that. I suggest you contact your local embassy, send them an email, asking them what documents you need if you want to work in the Philippines. Now, should you work in the Philippines? I personally don't think so, because the Philippine wages are extremely low. The average minimum wage is around $8 to $12, around that, depending on the province, per day, not per hour. Now, of course, the cost of living is lower in the Philippines too, so you might think to yourself, okay, maybe I can go ahead and make that work. But trust me, you'll never underbid a Filipino, because they'll just hire somebody, a local. Why would they go through all the problems, the cost to hire a foreigner to work for minimum wage, right? So you have to have something in place. If you're specializing in a field, then definitely. Let's read another response. I think foreigners can get trike taxi licenses, and if you work long days, you could get 500 pesos a day. Best part is you get in top shape or heart attack. Kind of a dark humor there, saying basically how little Filipinos make as far as minimum wage. And a taxi driver that could stress all day in the heat, working hard, might make about 500 pesos. So if that's equivalent or good enough for you, you can get a job like that. Actually, you probably can't, because I'm sure the locals will have a lot to say. Here's another response. Do volunteer work, no pay. You stay busy. Are you Catholic? The churches are your best source. That would be my suggestion too. If you're coming to the Philippines to work, do not make finances your priority. Don't come to the Philippines trying to make money, basically, because the minimum wage and the labor cost is very, very low. You cannot really survive on that kind of Western lifestyle that you want with working in the Philippines, getting Filipino wages. But if you want to learn the culture, immerse yourself into like the society of the Filipino, to learn the history, or if you're passionate about something, let's say you love diving or becoming like some kind of, even that, like, you just pretty much have to volunteer, because you can't work legally. So then do you really want to go through the whole legal process of getting a work permit just to make a few dollars a day, essentially? The next response is no. And make sure you understand what a tourist is. That is the visa you will come under. Unless you have special work permit or sponsored by an employer for work visa, you only get those. For jobs Pinoys can't perform. You can't just show up here expecting to work, find a job. That is just the way it is. And better you read the blunt facts here than get caught working for peanuts, boredom, on a tourist visa here later and deported, blacklisted. Some of the things we already talked about. Exactly. You cannot work in the Philippines on a tourist visa, which most of us come under. You need a very specific visa. And do you really want to put yourself in that position where you do something illegal and start working on a tourist visa? Because the Philippines will kick you out. They'll kick your ass out of the country, and they'll most likely blacklist you. Also, you get a fine between 1,000 and 10,000 pesos and a jail term between 3 months and a year if you really get into serious trouble and if you do something really absurd. And you don't want to be like the American, something Lee, that just got kicked out for working when he should have been working and have had the proper visa and all that stuff. So yeah, stay out of trouble, have the right proper documentation and visas. And if you're coming here to work, make sure you have that correct pre-approved employment letter, or there's a whole bunch of other stuff you really got to look into. Next response is, why work here? Pay is low. Stay in your own country and make your own money at a higher rate than retire here. That would be the best option, I think, to actually have some savings, then come to the Philippines. Philippines is not a place you want to come to look for money. I was actually surprised to see the unemployment rate to be very low in the Philippines, but that doesn't mean they're making a lot of money. Everybody's employed because they're hardworking people and they have to make a living. A foreigner coming in, and you're probably going to take away a job. Even if you got a job with some company or something, you might feel a little bit of guilt knowing that you just took something from a local person. On another note, just like Canada, just like many places that offer a work visa, you have to be able to provide something that a Filipino cannot, maybe, or that there's a high demand that the Filipinos cannot meet, which is very unlikely. So consider those things before thinking about actually working here. My best suggestion will be to look for a company that has offices in the Philippines. So let's say you're from the US, look for a company that's willing to relocate you to keep you on US salaries, but you're still living in the Philippines and working for a company in the US, because that takes away a lot of the headaches, right? And maybe digital nomad. I know that the Philippines working toward a digital nomad visa. A lot of you might say, okay, well, can I just be on a tourist visa and work online like you do, Alex? But maybe, right? But there's a gray area in that, and you want to be very sure that you're not basically breaking the law when it comes to taxes. For me personally, I know based on what I do, I claim my taxes as an independent contractor in Canada, right? And because I'm not in the Philippines as a permanent resident, I don't live there full time. It's not my permanent address. I move around a lot, right? So whenever I file my taxes, it doesn't have to be the Philippines. There's a lot of things you have to consider if you think you can get a job in the Philippines. That was some of the top comments. Lastly, a lot of people might think, okay, why can't I go to the Philippines and start my own business? Now that is a possibility. You may be able to do so, but you still have to hire Filipinos. There's a lot of technicality you really want to be sure. Do not listen to me. Do not listen to anybody on Facebook or YouTube telling you how to start a business, whatever that is. Check with your embassy, check with immigration, check with the US consulate, actual direct sources. Do not be misguided as far as opening a business. Furthermore, if you open a business under, let's say, your significant other, your girlfriend or your wife's name, you have to really trust that person, because any relationship can turn sour. And in the Philippines, I don't think as a foreigner you have many rights when it comes to who gets what, and it's most likely going to go to her. So keep all those things in mind. I know it might sound like a great idea to come here, bring an idea. It's not impossible, don't get me wrong, but it's very difficult, and you don't want to work for minimum wage per se. If you have a business idea, make sure you go through the proper channels and contact the proper people, lawyers and embassies and consulates, not just a YouTube video. But this was just a generalization. If you're coming here, make sure that if you're on a tourist visa, you do not work, and understand the minimum wage. And if you want to come work for a Filipino company, you may not get a lot of money. So why come here looking for finances? I suggest volunteering here. I suggest come here scouting the Philippines or whatever. And if it's something you can offer, a business or something, maybe you could become like a corporation, go through the legal channels and own a business in that way. So personally, for me, I'm lucky, I'm blessed to be able to travel and make money through YouTube and other small investments I've made. I would recommend somebody to come to the Philippines on a secured kind of monthly budget income, some kind of salary that you have from either you're renting a home like I am back in Canada, I'm renting my house, or let's say you are on disability of some kind, you're a military vet or something like that, because you can come here and spend that money. Maybe because I interview people that are coming here and have a certain small amount of budget, but they make that money stretch very long. I know this is paradise. I know a lot of people want to come to the beaches, but you really have to consider the effect you might have in the local workforce and labor force and all that. I'm going to ramble on at this point. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave your comments down below. Let me know if I missed something. And let me know if you've ever worked in the Philippines that got paid through a Filipino company or employer, and what you did. Anything you want to share, if you take your time to write it, I will take the time to respond. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.